Well, from the very beginning of the Eurozone crisis, one of the major criticisms has been of the EU leaders' failure to adapt to the continuing problems. We're joined now by Aris Hatzistefanou, whose documentary Debtocracy gained a lot of attention for opening the discussion about possible alternatives and challenging the assertion from Eurozone leaders that there was no plan B. Now, Aris, thank you very much for joining us. Now, the title of your documentary, Debtocracy, pretty self-explanatory, but can you tell us what the main messages of that documentary were?
You know, we started with the idea that in other countries there were alternative solutions to this debt crisis that they weren't mentioned in Greece by the government or the mainstream media. But then we wanted also, not only as journalists, but also as citizens, to explain to the government and to explain to other European nations that we are not these lazy people, that we just spend more than we earn. We wanted to explain that what happened in Greece is actually the same with what happened in Portugal or in Ireland or in Spain. It is a structural problem of the world financial system, but at the same time a structural problem of the Eurozone, because Eurozone, it's a system that creates deficit and debt to the European periphery, while at the same time creates surpluses to the European core. So it's not a lazy nation, it's not just the structural problems of the Greek economy, which of course exist, it's also something deeper that comes, I believe, from the European Union. So a few years ago no one was talking or criticizing the euro. Now I think it's something like 30–35% that say we should leave the Eurozone, which is huge for Greece.
What do you think is going to happen now in the country moving forward?
We're going to default. I mean, we knew that many years now, that it's just impossible to repay a debt of 360 billion euros. The next step is to decide if we will stay in the Eurozone or if we will have to leave. And then, if we decide that we have to leave, there will be, of course, a problem with the banking sector. It's highly probable that it will collapse. And then the third step comes, which is to nationalize the banks. You have to take control of the banking system and to impose strict control in the capital flow so that all this capital doesn't leave the country. This may sound, you know, revolutionary, but it's not. It's actually what Iceland did a few months ago, and it managed to survive in this debt crisis. But we have to say that it's a different thing if we decide to default, if we decide to leave the Eurozone, and if we decide to nationalize the banks, and it's a completely different story if these decisions are imposed by the European Union or the International Monetary Fund. In this second scenario, it might be catastrophic for Greece.
Well, your documentary looks at alternative options to simply staying in the Eurozone, but why do you think it took so long for these options to be discussed?
There are many reasons. First of all, because the mainstream media are controlled by the same economic elite that control the shipyards, the construction companies. It's the same families, just a few families who control the media. And these families wanted the IMF in the country. Now, I think that these economic elites doesn't agree anymore. They realize that they might lose the control of the banking sector, that other banks from abroad might come. They understand that they are losing sovereignty, that foreign companies might come and take a bigger share. So it comes also from these economic elites that they realize that now they have to stop, they have to have a red line. And of course it's the people who realized after these months that the government was lying to them, that there is no solution with austerity, that we have to take more radical measures.
Now, you know, whatever happens, it's going to be an incredibly tough road ahead. How do people here feel about the future?
People are afraid, and they are blackmailed every day. They are saying to them that, look, if you don't accept what the Europeans are saying, if you don't accept the austerity measures imposed by the government and by the IMF, it will be hell. You won't have salaries for the next month.